We're gonna create a chippy look. And so oftentimes you can get a chippy look using milk paint, but with a couple different steps, you can actually achieve the same look using DIY paint. But do you see the crackle? Just a few minutes ago, because I needed this to start drying, is I put a coat of Elmer's glue. And that is what causes the paint to crack.
Using white glue is so much fun to create a crackle look. The key is using nice long strokes, don't overbrush, and I like to use a chippy brush. And that's what it looks like. You don't have to cover every single area. It just adds to the effect, and almost instantly it starts to crackle, and it crackles even more over time. Next, to make my signs, I go ahead and I take my IOD typesetting stamp in the lowercase. The IOD grid bound just makes it easy to line everything up and also to pick up the letters and to be able to stamp them all at one time. Once I have it laid out, I use the grid lines to be able to get a nice, even line for all of my letters, if that's what I'm looking for. Then I take my IOD ink pad. Here I'm using the mixing white, and I'm just tapping it to get the ink onto the stamps on an even surface. Then I lay it out and I press down with one hand, I hold it, and with my other hand I go ahead and I follow the lines of the letters to make sure that I get a great impression of the ink. Then I take my baby wipe and I clean off my stamps. Now I'm going to have to reuse some of the letters because I don't have duplicates. And so that's a great way that you can re-ink and relay them out to create a long sentence, a paragraph, or whatever it is that you're wanting for your sign. And it's so simple. Just like that, you can create a message, a sentiment, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Here, I wanted it to stand out a little bit more, so I'm using these metallic pens, and I have one in white, and I just outlined my letters. Now, it's a rugged surface, so it's not smooth, but these letters are not perfect. They're the typesetting font that are made to look a little bit more rustic. So all I do is just outline it, and it just makes the words pop just a little bit more. Once the ink dried and all my paint was dry, I go ahead and I seal it with DIY Paint's Big Top. Big Top gives you a satin finish and it looks great. Now I have a second sign. It was a red cabinet door and I want to paint it black. So I'm using DIY Paint's Little Black Dress, and then I'm applying the Elmer's glue with a chip brush. I'm just squirting it on. Just can't be any simpler. Then I take another brush and I apply my white paint. And as you can see, again, long strokes, don't overbrush, just get it on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is not the perfect finish. And you can see some crackle is beginning to appear. I hope that you try this if you've never tried it. Please comment below and let me know if you have tried it before. Now, the sign that I showed at the beginning, I wanted to add a little bit of oomph. So I had already painted it and stamped it, but I wanted to add a few pieces of scraps from my IOD transfers. And look at that. It just really sets it off. I love the way that it turned out. You can leave it just like that, but I decided to add one more. I have a few tutorials using transfers, so go ahead and go to my playlist to get more detailed information. After you've applied your transfers, go ahead and seal it with DIY Big Top.
Anyway, so this is what we get, okay? So this is what it looks like. If you've never seen the typesetting stamp, can you see the texture they're made to look like it's not filled in all the way. Maybe you could see it this way better. Maybe with my hand. Okay, you see how there's spots and there's holes missing? So it's not a clean font, and I like that, especially for this rustic look. So let me show you again on here. You can see that the paint is showing underneath because it's not complete.
In addition to typesetting, we have Farmhand, which is like a Ray Dunn look, and then also Swoosh, which is the script font. Super fun to mix and match. So again, I'm going to lay out my letters for my sign so that I could see my spacing and I know exactly where I want to place them. Here I'm going to use my IOD ink pad in black. If you don't have the ink pads, you could take the ink and put it on a plastic or acrylic and then use a brayer and roll it on. I actually kind of like using the brayer a little bit better. You get really good coverage that way. Again, hold it down and follow your fingers onto the letters to make sure that you get a good impression.
So this is the floral anthology, and all of these products are on my website, lisaboondesigns.com.
Floral Anthology is probably one of my favorite transfers. There's so much goodness in there, and there's so many projects that you can do with just the one pack. I cut up a whole bunch of little florals, and then I go ahead and I figure out exactly where I want to lay them out. So I don't remove the white backing until I'm sure where I'm going to put it. And once I do, I go ahead and I burnish it down. Now, if you have a piece that hasn't come on or has to go over the edge, it's really easy to get that over the edge and just take your time. Just bend it and it will work. I'm going to show you a couple of other tricky areas on these particular signs where I had to do that very, very slowly. And see right here, there's lots of ridges on these cabinet doors, and so I just take my time and do one step at a time, and then I even have to cut into this corner so that I could get it to bend the way that I needed to. And if it cracks, it's okay. It's a rustic sign, but if it bothers you, you could always put a butterfly or a bird over it. You could also get some DIY paint, mix something up, and color it in. Once you get your transfers down, just burnish it. Now here you go. This is what that one came out to look like. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. This transfer is so beautiful. It's called Redoubt 2. It's also available on my website, lisaboondesigns.com, as are all of the products that I use today. And this is also a great one that you can use on multiple projects. There's text, there's leaves, there's florals in different sizes. And so I just cut up a whole bunch of little pieces and I applied them on, burnished them really well. And again, took it slowly on those ridges, and see, it works. So these are the 3 signs that I created using the Crackle finish. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, and have you tried this, and will you be trying this soon? I hope so. I hope you have an incredibly blessed day.